Hello and welcome to our channel, or welcome back to our channel. If you caught our very first episode of Blind Spots, we are Fortitude Community Outreach. We are a small grassroots nonprofit serving the homeless of Kankakee County, Illinois. Today we're going to be talking about one of our very favorite subjects, which is our organization, Fortitude Community Outreach, and some of the services that we provide, some of the challenges that we've had, and some of our plans for the future. So let's learn together so that we can serve better. Stay with us. Welcome back, everyone. Today we are talking about one of our favorite subjects, which is our organization, Fortitude Community Outreach. Besides just helping our viewers know who we are and what we do, we love the idea of inspiring other folks, other places around the country who might be interested in doing something like we have done, which is starting a grassroots organization to help the homeless. I always say, if we can do it, you can do it. Although full transparency, none of it is easy. So let's dive in. I'm Dawn Brewers. I'm the founder and director of Fortitude Community Outreach.
William Boykin, shelter director.
Guest advocate.
Guest advocate. Outreach.
Street outreach. Multiple
housing specialist.
Very important person. I'm Ben Randak, admin assistant, but I also help with the rapid rehousing program and the shelter services.
Ben and I are actually founding members of the organization back in 2016. We kind of came about, the real beginnings of the organization was when I was hearing from some retired police officers that there were folks in our county that were homeless who were dying on the streets, freezing to death on the streets, or other reasons that they were dying on the streets. And I just really felt like that was not acceptable in my community. I knew we could do better. I knew we had the resources and the caring people to be able to do better than that. And so that is exactly what we sought out to do. So the first thing that we did was just simply gather volunteers together to do a weekly street outreach. And you were part of that at the very beginning. You want to talk a little bit about what we did?
Yes, I was. I was a sophomore in high school. We had that was before even the trailer. We just brought our van. Mm-hmm. Had a little storeroom full of stuff. And then, so we would swing by there, grab hygiene products, clothes,
coats,
etc., etc. Yeah. And we would go out to this little corner out off of Court Street and just set up tables, set up little hangers, and people came to us. We gave them what they needed, hung out and talked in it while they were out there, made some friends, lost some friends.
Yeah, so that was really our, I wanted to say introducing ourselves to the community, but really it was just the opposite. The homeless were introducing themselves to us so that we knew who they were and they knew who we were, and we started to build that trust and rapport with the homeless community in our area. And through that, we began this learning process. In our last episode, we talked about the blind spots, us just not knowing what it's like to be homeless and what those needs are. And so we spent a couple years really just getting to know what those needs were and how we could fill those needs. And so the biggest one was emergency overnight sheltering. We had agencies in the area that were giving out hotel vouchers from time to time as they got funding for that. But that wasn't something that often you could get same day. And so we we're hearing from them that it was necessary for an emergency overnight shelter. And so we actually visited DuPage Pads, which is one of the largest homeless shelters in our area, to learn from them a PADS model of sheltering, utilizing different churches in the area to provide shelter on a rotating basis. So we would be at one church this night, one church this night throughout the week. And that was the quickest and easiest way for us to gain the permissions that we needed to provide sheltering. So, like many people say these days, then COVID hit. And that changed a whole lot of homeless services everywhere. But at that point, we were not able to shelter in hotels. And so we had to pivot, and we were able to stay in one location donated by a church that was not using the building. However, at that point in time, it was a building downtown and in an area where it was slated for downtown rejuvenation. And so it wasn't a place that we knew we could continue to get permits for. So from there, we had to get really creative. And so last summer, we were out of options. We had no place where we could provide overnight shelter. And so we contacted an organization in Florida that was utilizing some renovated coach buses for overnight sheltering. And so we visited them and were wowed by their model that they were using. And so we purchased a bus that they remodeled just for us and have since been using that. It's a 19 bed, full bed. Each bed has curtains, so it's a private pod. You talk a little bit about these guys clean the bus and do the laundry every week. So yes, you probably know the bus better than everybody. You want to talk about what each pod has for our guests?
Sure, yes. Each bed, so there's bunk beds. So each bed has a light switch that's can be operated by the guest, a electric panel that they can plug their electric materials into.
Has USB ports.
USB ports, charger, has an iPad that they can use, and there's also Wi-Fi available on the bus, so that each guest can be comfortable. And there's also a curtain and a curtain rod so that each guest can have privacy.
There's a bathroom on board.
Mm-hmm.
And we have one staff member that drives the bus to where we provide dinner, picks up guests, and then drives to a location to park for the night, and then back to our facility for breakfast. So this is not a long-term solution, and it's not a perfect solution, but it is a good interim solution, and one that could work for potentially a lot of cities or organizations that find themselves in need of a quick solution. So a couple challenges that we have had along the way can be narrowed down to NIMBY, which you talked about a little bit in the last episode, but do you want to give another description of NIMBY?
Not in my backyard. Not in my backyard is the saying, and it's just the phenomenon where people desire to have these necessary services in their community, but they don't want to be the host, and they don't necessarily want to see it.
They don't want to hear that.
So
they don't want it near
right
daycares.
Right.
But at the same time, shelters need to be close to other services. They need to be close to bus stops. And so some people say just put the shelter outside the city limits,
And we're serving families, so near a school is not bad either.
Yeah, right. And so there's a lot of lack of education in terms of just why shelters need to be in, the center of everything, where they can get free transportation and access those services. We attempted to purchase a building a couple years ago, and that it wasn't able to be rezoned, and so that was effectively shut down. We tried to build on a piece of property that was donated to us, but that was right after COVID, when construction costs went up past $1 million for a small little building. So that was not feasible. And so we finally landed on this building, which is a nice big building in a great location. And it just needs some renovation to be able to provide overnight sheltering here. In the meantime, we're continuing to use the renovated coach bus for overnight sheltering. And we are currently in the process of a capital campaign to get our building renovated for that overnight sheltering. There's more information about that in the links below. But we are, for donations, going to be making customized bricks for our patio right outside our building. So check that out. Some of the other services that we provide are street outreach, which William is the head of. Ben will sometimes go to street outreach, but why don't you tell us a little bit more about what you do?
Okay, so there's a outreach bus that was donated by Blue Cross
Blue Shield, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it has a microwave and various things that we can use to go and meet homeless individuals, people who are unhoused, where they are. So I do it once a week currently, where during the day I'll go out, generally, preferably with someone else, and just go to some of the common locations where you can normally find people who are unhoused. And
people know where some of your stops are, so they come to you.
Right. So I've got one regular stop that's at the exact same time every week. So I sometimes have a crowd there. But aside from that, I'll switch it up a little bit because I've only really given myself 2-3 hours. It's not a whole lot of time. But sometimes I'll go to the Walmart parking lot where there are people, who are living in their vehicle, and various other parking lots where there may be people living in their vehicle. Sometimes I'll go to a campground even. Where I know someone is. This last time, someone actually texted us, and we met her at McDonald's. So people know we're out there doing that. We have supplies on the bus.
Mm-hmm. Should we talk about supplies?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
We have some examples here of supplies that we try to keep on hand. Some we partner with an organization for, and some are just private donations for the community. One of those is our City Pack backpacks.
This is a basic, it's almost like a backpacking backpack.
It's huge.
Yeah. I've done some backpacking in my time. And yeah, those are generally 60-pound bags. But yeah, this can hold quite a bit. It's got extra space on the bottom, extra space on the top, several compartments. And a poncho comes with it, several pockets.
There's tons and tons and tons of pockets.
So great for if you want to carry some valuables with you. Great strong straps.
Yeah. I'll put the link for that below. City Pack is a nonprofit and then consulted with individuals who were living on the streets to create the design for the pack. The nonprofit covers half the cost of it. And so we only have to pay for half of the cost of those, which makes it much more affordable. So we also get donations of socks from Bombas. They tell you in their advertisements that they donate us a pair of socks for every pair of socks somebody buys, and they aren't kidding. We get lots of these donations, and so we give lots and lots of socks out in street outreach in our shelter. We also have, we call these packs our Dignity Project. Our Dignity Project are packs of feminine hygiene supplies, and that comes from funding from our local Zonta organization. So we always have those available in discreet packages for the women that stay at our shelter. And this was a donation. This crate is completely full of Ben's shaving kits. And those are just little razors and a little container of shaving cream. These are actually really perfect for our guests because they're so small and easy to keep in what they're carrying around. So we try to always keep donations like this around, just things that make their life a little bit easier, more comfortable, make sure that they are able to keep up their hygiene and stay warm, all of those things. So that's street outreach. We can talk about another program, which is rapid rehousing. Ben, you want to talk about rapid rehousing?
Rapid rehousing is a system where we pretty much address the struggle of people who make enough money to pay rent, but can't cross that threshold to pay that first month's deposit, pay the security deposit, get that first month rent in, and then still be able to consistently pay rent all that time. So we will step in and, say we'll pay the security deposit, we'll pay the first couple months, and then we'll split it 50-50, and then eventually the goal is at some point to have that resident that we've put into this apartment be 100% self-sustainable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in the meantime, we're providing, you guys are providing supports so that they can stay in the apartment. What kind of supports do you offer?
We visit them regularly and do a little bit of case management and just try to keep them accountable to a budget and a plan that we've worked with them to create for becoming self-sustainable. But aside from that, we can offer them some of the supplies that we have here if they need them. Just some things to help get them back on their feet.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of struggles that maybe aren't immediately apparent.
Mm-hmm. And some of that is learning what those gaps are, like knowing how to grocery shop effectively, knowing how to cook for yourself, knowing how to clean your own bathroom or your kitchen, make sure your floors are swept, make sure you're being a good neighbor. Sometimes it's not widely known that you should not have your music on so loud that your neighbors can hear it. Just things like that. So part of our rapid rehousing program is that they're required to attend our weekly life skills group, which all of us rotate teaching on a weekly basis. Ben, can you talk a little bit about what life skills is?
Yeah, absolutely. Life skills is a class that we have set up into social skills, which is my class, emotional regulation, which is hers, workplace skills, which was William's,
functional skills,
and we had like financial management skills as our fourth.
Yep.
And so pretty much the goal is to just at a basic level, just give base advice, knowledge of, how to act with like William's class, like how to be a good customer service worker, how to cooperate with your coworkers, how to properly communicate with your boss, managers when you need time off or stuff like that. And then emotional regulation is stuff like how to stay calm, how to not lose your temper, how to keep your cool, stuff like that. And social skills, it's just a lot about, how to talk to people, how to develop and or maintain relationships with family, friends, coworkers, strangers, people that you meet, how to have good communication skills. One of my favorite lesson plans I've come up with so far is one I'm working on right now is like talking about me time versus their time. When is it time for me to talk about myself? When is it time for me to listen?
Great thing to know. The last thing is a program that we are currently in the development of, and that's our HOST team. HOST stands for Housing Outreach Specialist Team. And those are a select group of individuals who will be on call to respond to crisis and housing crisis situations. Typically, the police or hospitals would be those that call for a team to come out to wherever they are if an individual's having a housing crisis situation. So that might be someone who's older and suddenly finds himself homeless and unable to take care of themselves on the street and just really need services right then and there. We hear all the time that there are police officers that will pay for someone to stay in a hotel overnight, which is a really great thing for police officers to be doing, but we feel like that is something they shouldn't have to do, And so we are looking to provide that through our host team in the future. So that's us in a nutshell. We would really love to hear from you, things that you might be doing for the homeless. We'd love to hear about that, questions you might have for us that we can incorporate later, ideas that you have that might be great services for the homeless, or just your comments. Our next episode, we are going to be taking you on a tour of our building and of the services that we provide. Hopefully you can meet some of those individuals that we're serving, and we're super excited to share that with you. So if you are interested in learning more about giving to our capital campaign or just for our programming services, please check out the links in the description below. And please remember that liking, following, sharing is the easiest way to help the homeless, both for us and other organizations, and help in all of our efforts. By following, you'll also be notified when we post a new video. So thank you again to Ben and to William for joining us today and sharing your knowledge and experience. And we will see you next time.